betting weekly because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. That River sponsor. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to Betting Weekly Live Reaction. Once again, me and Nigel Seeley are here for some hot takes after another rather sensational day in the Premier League. The headline result is that Liverpool have lost at home to Manchester United, 2-1 at Anfield. Man United's first win on Merseyside at Anfield for, 10 years, I think, Nigel. That's the first port of call. I mean, I don't think we expected United to win. You said yesterday you wanted to get with Manchester United in a certain angle. You said both teams to score, possibly looking at handicaps, but to actually win right on the money line there for Man United. What are your takes on that match?
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I mean, I thought that yesterday I thought it was a difficult one because there was such a drift towards Liverpool, and the market was spot on. Liverpool drifted out to around about minus 150 with Bet Rivers, which compared to minus $3 last year shows you the decline in Liverpool Football Club. I don't think it's the rise in Manchester United, because going into this game and still coming out this game, we're still not sure about Manchester United. That just shows you how bad Liverpool have been in recent weeks. And is there a crisis at Liverpool? They haven't won now in 4 matches, lost them all, not draws, lost them all. And it reminds me very similar to Manchester City last season, doesn't it? Manchester City won a few games. They were favourites early doors, and then they went on this really bad losing run, and they hit a bit of form towards the end, but left the ground too much to chase up on their rivals. My reaction today is, first of all, I thought Man United looked really good. Really good. Cunha and Bomo, really. Cunha was sensational. I thought Fernandes had one of his best games. Amorim was tactically spot on against Liverpool. Liverpool's defensive crisis that was there for all to see, absolutely all to see. And probably the biggest takeout from this match to me today was what on earth has happened to Mo Salah? I mean, he looks a shadow of the player he was last season and the season before. Whether Father Time has taken its toll on him, I don't know. But Mo Salah, it looked awful. And if you think about it, when Manchester United were chasing a goal and needed a goal, they took Mo Salah off. That would never have happened. You've got so many new players, great pieces in the jigsaw, but the jigsaw pieces are all in the wrong spots at the moment. And Liverpool look a bit of a mess, defensively a mess. Wirtz isn't performing. When he did come on, I thought he played quite well in some of the moves he made and some of the nice balls he played in. Isaac, they can't find a way. He still doesn't look fit. But there is something clearly going on in there. But Salah, I thought the form of Salah was terrible today.
Yeah, I've got to say, well, first of all, let's welcome everyone in. Leslie, Matt, good to see you. Talking Punting says the slot machine is broken. It took some time, hasn't it? This is what everyone was expecting last season, of course. Stephen Hall, no Liverpool players booked, just shows a lack of passion. Good evening, guys. Ian Messina says Liverpool lost their mojo. Nick Mace, sounds happy. Jake Alberich is a happy guy. Up the Villa today. Great win for Aston Villa. We'll talk about them as well. And Ian, unfortunately, I think the Raya Corners bet is dead. They're 3-0 up, and they're just very happy to stay onto that advantage. Salah, I mean, I think Liverpool have got some problems here. There's a few issues at work for me, Nigel. Number one, I think there's been a massive influx of players this summer window. I don't think Slot knows his best 11. I think some key players have regressed as well in terms of ability. Virgil van Dijk, if I'm being honest, he's not really been the same since the Pickford challenge that got his ACL. Mo Salah.
Do you think so? I think he's been covering for Konate for most.
That's the other thing I was going to say. Konate, how bad is he? He is every single match. He seems to be either out of position or makes a mistake. Van Dijk's still a very good centre back, but when you think about it, he was probably the best in the world before that Pickford injury. I don't think he's at that absolute elite level anymore. Mo Salah, I don't know what's happened, because it's like, was he playing for his contract last season? And was that why he was so fired up and motivated? I don't know. That shouldn't happen so quickly, because older players who've got great technical ability don't often regress.
But they lose. They lose. The people who rely on pace lose a little bit of their pace. That's what goes. And as Mo Salah lost that little bit of electric pace that takes him past players. I don't know. From the human eye, you don't think he loses paces, but he might have lost that little bit of edge. I think you've hit some great spots there, but also Liverpool. I think the fullbacks, Trent going. I mean, and Robertson coming towards the end of his career as well. I mean, these Kirksey and Frimpong. I mean, they're a liability. Everyone was thinking about Trent being a liability, but what Trent gave you from an offensive point of view with the balls he could whip in and the assist he got, and then his ability going forward was worth something inside. I'm a massive fan of Trent, and I don't think they've recruited players that have done exceptionally well in the Premier League, but they're just not gelling for Liverpool. And there's, as you say, lots of new faces, but it's a real decline because we see so many times. I remember coming onto the Premier League week after week 2 or week 3 and saying the season's over when Arsenal were dropping points and at Manchester United and Liverpool were just winning. We were saying about, is that being the signing of the season, the best player in the Premier League? And, he just doesn't look fit. Now, I'm not saying that they won't come good. These are world-class players that Liverpool will come good. But at this moment in time, there is a rebase on them. And what I was doing through the second half of the day was adjusting our ratings on the Betting Weekly Insider. I mean, how low do we go on Liverpool now? I mean, we had them at the top. We had them the best team in Europe at the start of the season. I think they're about 6th now. I think they're way behind the 2 Spanish giants, behind Bayern Munich. I think they're behind Manchester City now. If Manchester City played Liverpool on a Wembley in an FA Cup final, you've got to make Man City favourites. They're behind Bayern Munich. They're behind obviously PSG, and there's a huge issue here with the way they're playing. And the other thing I found really interesting today is everyone goes on about what a brilliant place Anfield is. Oh, it's worth a goal start. They were quiet. The last couple of minutes of matches, they've managed to get them behind their sides and get them through, and it hasn't worked. I don't know if the Jota, the tragedy it plays heavily on their minds as well. I mean, that's a huge blow, and they've got to play that every week, that emotion. But there's something. Well, it's obvious to see that something is not going well at Liverpool Football Club. But fair play to Man United today. I thought they're excellent. I think Amorim gave one of the best tactical performances the best in his Manchester United tenure so far. And how would you rate them now? I mean, they're the team that I think they're the most difficult side to read in the whole of Europe. Man United, brilliant in some matches and then awful.
Well, I'll tell you what, I certainly am doing next week already. I'm thinking about betting on Brighton. Because one thing I know about this Manchester United team is they never, ever back up a good result with another one. And you can just see it. Everyone will be high on them going into that Brighton game. They're even money to beat Brighton next week. And the players today, you mentioned the likes of Cunha and that he was brilliant. They put the effort in, the players did. But will that effort has not been consistently there historically, for years now, certainly under the Amorim regime. So I think Brighton next week for me would be a bet based on Man United often having a come down after a decent result and performance. That said, it was obviously pretty comfortable for them. The thing was, Man United certainly deserved a result today, didn't they? It wasn't like they fluked a win and it was a smash and grab. They legitimately looked good in a lot of aspects of the game. So
I said the other thought. Sorry, I thought the goalie looked good for them. I thought he was Lamans. I thought he played well in a big pressure match for a young man like that. So that was good for them as well.
Dan Roebuck is in the chat. Good to see you, Dan. In the here and now, of course, Liverpool -177 on Wednesday at Eintracht Frankfurt. The -148 at Brentford next week. Are we fading them in the sort of short term here? Do you think, Nigel? You mentioned the ratings there. Do we, until we actually see more from them from a controlled element? I mean, they can't control games, Liverpool.
Well, I mean, I'm a massive. I'm the betters. I've said it for years and years and years. But what will you beat total goals, Liverpool v Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League? I mean, Eintracht Frankfurt are the highest scoring team in European football. Liverpool have conceded in every single match they've played virtually this season, apart from, I think, 2. One of them was Arsenal. Arsenal, one of the only teams that failed to score against Liverpool. So that's got to be the thing is Liverpool. Wirtz could be a different player on the Champions League stage. The place of the Champions League probably maybe a little bit different. He'll be suited to that. Isaac could come off the bench and win a game. They're going to get chances against Eintracht Frankfurt. I don't think I'll be rushing to have too much of a rebase on that. But I just think whoever they play at this moment in time is a decent bet on the Asian handicap, because you could, whoever they play, they look like they're going to concede from set pieces. I mean, Man United's set piece delivery was superb today. Obviously, the ball in for Maguire's goal was a great goal, but from corners and set pieces, they were whipping in like Arsenal, putting the pressure on Liverpool. Liverpool aren't a solid defensive unit, and that is their one of their concerns. But there's concerns all over the pitch. And for the first time in his career, Arne Slot has a problem. And he's never, ever had any issue. Even when he was manager over in Holland, he's never had an experience like this. And he's under pressure for the first time. They've got to get a result. They've got to get a result quick, and they've got to turn it around. So we'll have to see what's happening. And at this moment in time, Liverpool Football Club, I've got some odds to win the Premier League. If you want some latest odds out on them in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, I mean, Arsenal, I imagine a cut today.
Well, I said yesterday, didn't I? I wouldn't bet Arsenal as a 55% chance to win the Premier League. And then now they've even shorted now. They're like 4-5, so minus 125 Arsenal from minus 110. So it's a big win for Arsenal Football Club now kicking the ball. Also, a big win for Man City, but still 3-1 Manchester City. And Liverpool out to 4-1 when you consider they were almost odds on fact, almost even money favourites in the second week of the season. So that shows you what's happening there, 4-1. But the squad they have, the fixtures they have in the Premier League, at least, they look fairly winnable. If you look at Liverpool's fixtures coming up, I mean, they've got Brentford away, then they match against Aston Villa at home, then they've got the big one, Man City, on November the 9th. If they get 2 wins from that and then get something from the Man City match, it'll look very, very different. But at this moment in time, they look a side that are in turmoil. I mean, just incredible. It happened exactly the same as Man City last season. Exactly.
Well, that's what Jake says in chat, and we said this off air, didn't we? It's just like Man City last season. Fade them until they show something that perhaps could be a way, or fade them in a certain way. I mean, last season we were on both teams score yes in Man City games, weren't we? A lot. Yep. You're not going to get good odds in Liverpool matches for both teams score yes, because it's just simply the way they play. The goal line, by the way, for the midweek game, you can actually get plus money on over 3.5 goals, which is somewhat of a surprise. But I was actually caught out the last Liverpool away game in the Champions League, Galatasaray. But I track Frankfurt are a more offensive side than them, really. Got better quality.
But I'll just give you some comparisons. Last season, when Manchester City went on that slump, it was at the end of October. They got beat by Tottenham 2-1. That was the decline. But they lost 5 matches on the spin, but 4 of them were away from home. They were at Tottenham, Bournemouth, Sporting, and Brighton. Then they got really humiliated by Tottenham in the Premier League 4-0, and that was the real turning point. And then they got beat by Liverpool at Anfield. But most of their defeats were on the road, whereas Liverpool are losing matches like at this match here. They're losing a match at home, but they've lost of this match at Anfield. It makes it a little bit more different. If they'd gone to Manchester United and lost 2-1, it wouldn't have been such a problem. But this was a fortress. This was the problem. That Liverpool was an absolute. Well, it has been a fortress for years and years and years. To actually lose to what we thought was an average Manchester United team is an alarm bell. That is a serious alarm bell. Obviously, the 3 matches before, they lost last-minute goal, Crystal Palace, a loss at Chelsea, and then obviously, as you use your expression, a tough place to go is Galatasaray. But this one here, being at Anfield and being that they, I think it's 2 matches in the league in the last 3 seasons or 2 seasons. At Anfield.
They don't get beat often here.
That's the alarming point.
You're right. What you said about the atmosphere as well. It didn't sound to me watching that today like even the equaliser. It wasn't rampant or anything, was it? Something ain't quite right there with Liverpool. What about your take on Man United then, Nigel? Would you be a backer of them next week? Even can they kick on? Can they finally kick on from one of these good performances?
Everything's got to be price dependent. Everything's got to be price dependent. I haven't. Let me see what the early prices are out with Bet Rivers. I can imagine they're being
around even money. I think.
Well, I mean, and Man United have had problems with Brighton in the past. So, I mean, I don't think I'd back them. The first person I thought of when they won today was that poor bloke who said he won't cut his hair till they won 5 matches on the trot. He'll end up looking like me if they carry on the way they're doing, but he doesn't want to do that. But would I bet? I don't know. I wouldn't bet him. Look at Manchester United this season. They've definitely played their better performances against the better teams.
They do, yeah.
They're a side that when you underestimate them against big teams, even last year when they went to Anfield and almost beat them, got a draw, they play much better against the teams that everyone considers they got no chance against. You're winning against Chelsea, obviously helped by the sending off there from the Chelsea goalkeeper early doors. They beat Manchester, they beat Liverpool today. But when they go against other teams, they play well against Arsenal in the opening day of the season. When they play against the teams that you would expect them to win and the crowd is on them, they're all right. But Man United have won their last 3 matches at home, which has gone under the radar as well. We're talking about them having sort of problems at Old Trafford, but they're starting to put a little bit of form together. And, we talked yesterday about him being the manager who most likely to lose his job. Well, this is where football's a funny thing. You've got Crystal Palace, who we said have had the best start to season ever. Very hard to beat. The longest unbeaten run in European football. The best manager in the league, Glasner. Well, Man United and Crystal Palace are only separated by goal difference at the moment in the Premier League. And if results go toward them, they're only 3 points off second place, Man City, which shows you how tight it is on the Premier League and how things can change. How Liverpool and Manchester United now separated by 2 points in the Premier League table. And, we were saying that this is the worst Man United team ever. Palace are doing incredibly well. Man City going to win the title. Well, Man United, if they play like that today, they'll cause problems. But can they put that run together? Will that young man ever get his hair cut? That's the problem.
This is why I'm not convinced by Man United at all. But I'll say that, I said yesterday, I think Rim was next out. But that result, obviously, that's given him a lot of credit. And I think probably the bet in that market now would be Daniel Farke, to be honest with you, rather than.
We've changed the subject here, obviously, about the man. This is to be the next manager sacked. But you're a Leeds fan. Who are they going to get?
Well, this is the thing. I've just felt like the board have set him up to fail constantly, right from the summer. He was nearly sacked in the summer, of course. There were very, very strong rumours that he was going to be out of a job in the summer.
Who was the guy who was going to go there?
Well, I don't know who was going to come in, but they were going to sack him. And then it suddenly...
It's all well and good sacking football managers, unless you know who you're going to get. I just don't think... I don't think there's a pool of managers now. You got to have the right kind of fit to go there. I don't know.
Yeah,
you'll end up with... Where are we going to? Ange Postecoglou might rock up.
I would take Ange at Leeds.
You wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
No, I would not. Now I wouldn't. But I would take him in the summer. It'd be a good summer hire for a club. But he needs a long time to get his methods implemented. I'd take Graham Potter definitely. 100%. I would take Graham Potter.
Well, he's going to be manager of Sweden, isn't he?
Yeah. So, this is the problem. We get anyway. We'll move on. Otherwise, it's going to be me ranting about Leeds.
Well, that's what we want. We don't mind. This is what it is, a reaction debate show that we can react. Well,
I just think the problem with Daniel Farke, we know his Premier League record in the past is not very good. And he doesn't have the pulling power. He said he wanted to bring in a couple more attacking players of quality in the summer. Who's to say we didn't get them because we looked at who our manager was and they think, do we really want to be playing under Daniel Farke in the Premier League? Nothing. It's just a shame for him. He's a really good manager in the Championship. He's really good when he's got the best squad or one of the best squads in the league. But Leeds need a manager now that we're underachieving in every metric, Nigel. On the metrics we're doing fine, but it's about results, isn't it? It's about putting the ball in the back of the net, defending both boxes. And I just don't see how he keeps the job. It's just a question of when he goes. I don't know when that might happen. If we lose against West Ham on Friday, I think there'll be a lot of pressure on him, which we probably will lose to West Ham. So in the next manager to go market, I would say he's probably the man under the most pressure now after this result today with Amorim. So, that's where I don't know what price he is. Odds will be changed, Monday morning now after this result today. But yeah, for me, Daniel Farke is going to be under. Sean Dyche, where's he going to end up? Is he going to end up at Forest? That's we said that yesterday. Sean Dyche is possibly in the mixer as well.
See, what happens with these kind of jobs is that basically when there's people who apply or people linked with a job, then all of a sudden another teams in and around them realise these are the candidates who may be interesting. You see the usual suspects come around for that job. So not in the Forest job is coming about now. You're going to have Sean Dyche, you've got Roberto Mancini, you got Silva's been bet today very heavily. The guy that I mentioned, Fulham manager, he got back down to
for Forest.
Yeah, he's got back down.
Well, you said that. You've said that for weeks.
I think I said before. I think he wants a new challenge. So hit that, and then you've got those kind of people. And obviously, the other man who I think who wants out at this moment in time, we're going to come on to this in a minute, is Brendan Rodgers at Celtic. I mean, Celtic had a terrible defeat today at Dundee, 2-0. I think they haven't lost in Dundee in 35 years. I know. Well, that's for the dojo. We're bringing out the dojo. But the thing is that, I mean, these are the usual people that come around. So Forest are sort of a similar kind of club in stature. Obviously, Forest have won 2 European Cups, which makes them a little bit more in stature. I'm not trying to be disrespectful for any Nottingham Forest fans or any Leeds fans, but I think they're a similar kind of club. And those are the kind of managers you're going to get. So whoever Nottingham Forest get, Rafa Benitez, he'll be another one. They're the kind of managers you got there. So that's what you got to look at. That's your pool of managers: Rafa Benitez, Roberto Mancini, Marco Silva, and Brendan Rodgers. That's the kind of manager you're going to get. And it's whether you think that is an upgrade on what you've got. And clearly, if you think Ange Postecoglou is an upgrade, you take me and Simon Holden as your manager.
I rate Ange as a manager. I think he's a really good manager, but you can't bring him in mid-season anywhere, because he's so unique with his styles that you're not going to implement it. He'd be a good manager to come in June, but not now, not right now. But with the Villa with a great win today. Plenty of comments in chat about them. There was obviously, and this just shows you how quickly it can change. The start of the season, everyone was massively pro Villa, then everyone's down on them, and now they've rebounded, and they're looking quite good again, Nigel. So that was an excellent performance and result. Tottenham were the most affected team for internationals, by the way, of any team in the Premier League heading into this weekend, along with Liverpool. Whether or not,
look at that. Well, look at that results today. So Aston Villa, are they back, Nigel? Are they the sort of team we can trust now? A lot of Villa fans are a lot happier across the board. I think the good win as well. They've done it without Ollie Watkins as well, didn't he? So that shows a positive sign for them. So that's good for them. I don't. Their side, they have. If you look at the league table, they're probably at the level where a little bit behind where they should be at this moment in time. But another one now on a bit of form. I'm long on their points, as I said, throughout the season, so I want them to do particularly well. I'm a big Villa fan this season, so I'm looking forward to them to do well. I think it's to do with the fact that you've got the Champions League and you've got international football, and as you say, and as you know, I put a tweet out just before when we were going to go live on this show, of all the teams in the Champions League in the top flight this weekend. Now, this is the worst. This is the Champions League where I think it's the worst one, because it's the one that's sandwiched between the international break, where players are playing international break, come back from this, and then you've got Champions League. And if you look at the top flights of top leagues all across Europe, every single nation, every single league, if you bet everyone blind in the Premier League, in France, in Spain, we don't know about Real Madrid, but I still think you're going to lose. Bundesliga and Syria, you would have lost money by betting teams in the Champions League matches. I said this today, that if you bet teams on the Asian handicap who are opposing sides in the Champions League, you will make profit, and you would have definitely made a lot of profit. This week, if you had opposed every team in the Champions League, if you bet every team in the Champions League this week and were involved in from those top leagues across Europe, you'll be 7.91 units behind by betting all those teams that week in, week out are your bankers. You will have done a lot of money this weekend by betting those sides. And you've got to remember, this has got to be the best weekend of the season by far for BetRivers. By far, or every bookmaker across the country. All those main teams. So if we look across Europe this week, Liverpool didn't win, Tottenham didn't win, Newcastle didn't win in the EPL Champions League. In League, Paris Saint-Germain didn't win, Monaco didn't win. In Spain, Villarreal didn't win, Atletico Bilbao didn't win, Bundesliga, Dortmund didn't win, Frankfurt didn't win, Syria, Napoli didn't win, Atalanta didn't win, and Juventus didn't win. And I think for the first time that I can remember for a long, long time, obviously Celtic and Rangers also didn't win in Scotland. And they're involved in different European action this week, but it must have been an absolutely incredible weekend for the sports books. What a week to have BetRivers shares. I tell you what.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, this is an incredible. It's been a poor weekend for a lot of the big teams. I think it's, like you said, the upcoming Champions League plus the internationals. I mean, I hope this is wrong, because we've got James Eason's hot dog on Real Madrid tonight. But Real Madrid.
And if anyone's going to beat the trend, it'll be James Easton.
Yeah, I mean, Real Madrid, you could actually get them on a legitimately -1 Asian handicap here, about -130, I think, with Bet Rivers. So maybe a little bit shorter now. But, that based on those results this weekend, although the late Sunday slot, that might just help them a little bit more, rather than playing Saturday lunchtime or Friday evening across the board. But it's been a terrible weekend for these teams. Not
even I've looked at some of the lower leagues. Sorry, Steve. I looked at some of the lower leagues in Ajax got beat as well. In Holland, they were a heavy favourite. You would have lost there. The only league that had both of their representative win. Do you know what the only league was that had both representative?
Oh, this has got to be some random league. I don't know. Portugal.
Portugal was both of them won. But I mean, that's I would say that's one of the that's one of the easiest ones of the lot.
That was a lucky guess. I mean, across the results today in Europe, a lot of goals around in France and Germany again. Every single match in the Bundesliga, apart from one, went over 2.5 this week, which is crazy. Every single match in Serie A has gone under 2.5 goals and both teams score. No, I'm actually on and under later. AC Milan, Fiorentina, and I'm a bit worried. Like by law of averages.
No, don't worry about law of averages. They, that's not going to, your points is, that's around. So anyway, and look at that. I mean, the Ajax have beaten AZ Alkmaar in their last 9 head-to-heads. So, yeah.
Is this something to look out for in the next international break as well? Do you think?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think it's that one. It's the one when the international. Sorry, the international break. So not when the international break, and then the Champions League. That middle section where players have travelled back, and then they've got to do Champions League. I think it's notoriously the worst one to bet in favourites. Fade teams in Champions League action, and this weekend has been an absolute bloodbath for favourite bettors. But I think it's an interesting one now. I mean, I'm looking at the ratings now I've updated my ratings on the back of those matches today, and Man United, the interesting one. Man United. How would you rate Man United against Tottenham at this moment in time if they played tomorrow?
For me, Tottenham, I would have Tottenham as a favourite.
Slight favourite, not much in it though. Slight favourite.
But like you said, Man United are the one team who are really, really hard to rate.
What about Man United and Villa?
Pick them.
What about Brighton Villa?
I'm going Villa.
I've got Brighton ahead of Villa very slightly, and I've got Man United ahead of both of them at this moment in time. I think they're really close. Tottenham, Man United, Brighton and Villa are very, very close at the moment. And Liverpool, I just think, have dropped. I think Bayern Munich, Man City, all of them. You've got to remember, at the start of the year, they were our top-rated team in European football. We've dropped them now down to 6.
Do we have PSG at number 1 or Barcelona at number 1?
I've still got PSG at number 1. I've got Arsenal at number 2. I've got Arsenal ahead of
Barcelona. Yeah, we got Arsenal at 2 now. Yeah,
Liverpool have dropped down to 7th on our rankings, on my rankings. But those 7 are way, way clear. And then you've got Chelsea, Inter Milan in that sort of category. But I think that Brighton, Villa, Man United one could change. You can have a rebase on them each week. I think we'll know a lot more about that middle section in the Premier League and European football in weeks to come, because they're going to change each week.
This is the era we're in, though, I think, Nigel, where we are in what I call an overreaction era, where if you can get ahead of the trend and get it right, then you're going to get an edge, because it's going to flip-flop us so much. And we're going to get it wrong sometimes, and sometimes we're going to get it right. If we get it right more times than we're wrong, we're in business. It's that sort of era. The Premier League is very competitive.
If Man United could put 2 back-to-back wins together, Man United will be very, very quickly rebased, and they will be on a level. They'll be higher than Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle aren't playing well at the moment. We've got them higher than Tottenham, Man United. If Man United can win 2 matches, then there's going to be a big rebase on Manchester United. And this is where I start when Man United keep having these kind of wins at this moment in time. So when Manchester United now have won today, and I look at their fixtures, now's the time I like looking at them to win the FA Cup or something. I know it's a long way off, but in January you're looking at them now, and I think they're, if he can get it going, then they might be a decent bet to win the FA Cup. And you've got teams, they've got no European football to concentrate on. So I look at those kind of things rather than looking at, when you say look ahead, because I think that the way that Man United may be, if they play like today, which is the big if, and they can continue to play that in the next 4 or 5 matches going into the Christmas period, then they're not going to be the price they are to win the FA Cup, and that's where I try to sort of think ahead and try to take a little bit of money on a future. So they're the kind of things that I would sort of like to look at.
Yeah. So final sort of actually, there were some questions about tomorrow's game. We're going to cover that on Betting Weekly.
Yeah, it's going to be on. We covered it on the Premier League show. I mean, Jack's got a bet on it. I mean, no different anything for that.
No, nothing really changes. But yeah, I mean, to conclude today, I mean, Simon Holden put in the chat, he thinks it's a 2-horse race now for the Premier League. Are you ruling out Liverpool for the Premier League now?
I still think it's a 4-horse race. I still think Chelsea's going to play a part in it. I don't think this is. Arsenal will not win this in the canter that everyone expects. They're winning ugly. Liverpool have got the players to turn it around, no problem. The problem for Liverpool is that they're going through a crisis for the manager, and he's won. I know he's won the Premier League, but I think when he's got a crisis, he's an unproven manager. Man City, keep the best striker in the world fit. You could win it. He could get you the goals to win it. And Chelsea, if they're in the mix, they're young, and their best player is out for another 6 weeks. Get him back, and there's a rebase on them as well. And just circling behind that, Newcastle, Villa, Man United, they're all capable of taking Tottenham. They're all capable of beating anybody on their day in the Premier League. I think it's a very, very exciting Premier League, and I'm going to make I think it could be 4 runners, and I think that someone else might push their way into it at some stage, not win it, but there could be a bit of a movement if we put 3 or 4 games run together.
And the final question: will Frank Eilert get to cut his hair? For Man United, that's the name of the Man United fan. Then he's got to do it after 5 wins in a row. The next 3, Man United, they've won 2 in a row. Next 3 matches: Brighton at home, Forest away, Spurs away. Will they win all them 3 games? I said yesterday they might lose all 4, didn't I?
Well, I mean, the Forest one's probably going to be the first match for Forest's new manager, which it could be Sean Dyche. So there's 0-0 detector could be out there. I think Frank might have to wait to get down the hairdressers.
I think he might have to. What he needs is a run where it's a shame they got knocked out of the League Cup, isn't it?
What he wants is like the FA Cup run. That's what he wants.
He wants a nice few cheap ones in there.
Yeah.
But based on what we thought,
around that's the way you want it. So you've got Wolves at home on the 30th of December. Then you've got Leeds away, Burnley away. Then you could have an FA Cup team.
Yeah.
And then you might have the last match to get your haircut is Man United home to Man City.
City at home.
He might struggle to get his hair. He might get it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that concludes it today. Enjoyed that reaction, Nigel. Remember, watch the live show tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and then also there'll be US Betting Weekly Live US at 5 p.m. Any more tennis? Any tennis shows due out today?
We're done. No, they're out. The Betting Weekly Game Bet matches out. Myself and Sean looking at 2 tournaments this week. One in Vienna. Meant nothing to me, that one. And then one in Basel over in Switzerland. And then I've recorded Betting Weekly WTA with Rory, which is out a little bit later on. And the big important thing is the newsletter's out in the morning. So there's going to be Champions League picks, videos, a little bit of tennis picks. And I think the newsletter's been on fire last couple of weeks. Lots of winning picks, isn't it?
Yeah, there was. I think Jack Wright was on over 2.5 today in the Villa game. That's just off the top of my head. But yeah, thanks everyone who joined in live or on demand. Hope you keep cashing some winners today in whatever sport. Midway through the NFL round, of course, we've got the Grand Prix on soon as well, and we've got the Serie A fixture and Real Madrid. Hopefully, Real Madrid can pick up a big win for James.
Get on Verstappen to win the Grand Prix. What price is he? He'll win the Grand Prix tonight.
He got to be minus money, surely.
I don't know, my pal sent me a message practicing, and I didn't bet him. Forgot him. Is he in pole position?
He's on pole.
That's what
I've seen some suggesting he could still be a dark horse to win the World Championship.
What price?
I don't know about that.
Oh, his odds on him was about 3-1. I'm not betting him at that price. I'm not. He's minus $2 now. I'm not betting him at that price.
Bloody hell. All right, well, take care, everyone. Remember to gamble responsibly, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you around on Betting Weekly Live. Thanks very much, Nigel. All the best.